The pressure on Russia in the meantime continues to build. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about this statement released by the Office for Gordon and Sarah Brown, calling for the creation of a special tribunal for the punishment of the crime of aggression against Ukraine. So that was released on the 6th of January. And it was talking about acts of aggression, traced back not to February invasion, but to the decision of Russia's military and political leadership to attack and occupy Crimea, the city of Sevastopol and the Donbass from 2014 onwards. And so they're calling for a constitution of what's equivalent to Nuremberg trials, termed the supreme international crime. For it's the crime of aggression from which most other international crimes, war crimes, crimes against humanity and genocide often flow. This is what they said. So they were talking about the International Criminal Court has powers to investigate genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. However, it doesn't exercise jurisdiction in relation to crimes of aggression. So something else needed to take its place. And so they're talking about a special tribunal for the crime of aggression. And I was making the point that this is something that Zelenskyy had called for back in October last year. We must create a special tribunal on the crime of aggression against Ukraine. So
that's a scripted talking point.
It's a scripted talking point. And in fact, the scripted talking point appeared to come from the Gordon Brown back in March 2022, as we can see on screen at the moment. But this was something that was in the mainstream media at the time. It's something that's been rumbling all the way through this last year. Well, everybody will be perhaps unsurprised to know that in fact this is now being established and the UK is taking a leading role in it. So this is what James Cleverly had to say. Russia's invasion of the Ukraine is an outrageous violation of the rules-based international order. The atrocities we've witnessed in Ukraine are diabolical. These atrocities must not go unpunished. That's why the UK has accepted Ukraine's invitation to join this coalition, bringing our legal expertise to the table to explore options to ensure Russia's leaders are held to account fully for their actions. So they're talking about setting up exactly this type of tribunal. It includes assessing the feasibility of a new hybrid tribunal, brackets a specialized court integrated into Ukraine's national justice system with international elements. An investigation into the crime of aggression could complement established mechanisms for investigating war crimes, including the International Criminal Court and Ukraine's domestic legal system. In joining this additional core group focused on crimes of aggression, the UK will complement its previous support in pursuit of accountability for Russia's actions. And so who are they bringing on board? Well, they're bringing on board this man, Sir Howard Morrison KC, Master of the Bench of Greys born in the UK in 1949, educated in schools in what was then West Germany and England, and then he did some voluntary work in Ghana, but joined the legal profession after that. So they've co-founded what they're calling, this is on top of what we've just been discussing, the Atrocity Crimes Advisory Group, with the US and the EU to directly support the War Crimes Unit and the Office for the Prosecutor General of Ukraine in its investigations. And Sir Howard Morrison is going to be the so-called independent advisor to the Ukrainian Prosecutor General. So, well, a campaign has been run, and it seems like the British government getting 100% behind it.
Listen, I don't know where to start on this. There's so many things that are wrong about it. But first off, in terms of Gordon Brown's statement, I'll start with Gordon Brown and the rest of them. It is disingenuous and intellectually dishonest, or lazy, the fact that when they talk about Russia's acts of aggression with regards to Crimea, to strip away all of the context of a EU-backed coup d'etat, a violent coup in Kiev in 2014 that led directly to the people in Crimea holding a referendum. Crimea's historic Russia, by the way, before 1953. Okay, so it was separated from Russia in a similar amount of time that East Germany was separated from West Germany, and they were reunited. But in the case of the West, they don't say that Crimea reunited with Russia, they say Russia annexed it. Okay, semantics. But international law is actually on the side of Crimea. And this is the other part they're not talking about. There's two sides to the UN Charter. You do have the UN territorial sovereignty, but you also have self-determination. These are two sides of the UN coin, and it's totally disingenuous that these thought leaders and politicians in the West don't look at both sides. And worse, Angela Merkel's admission about the Minsk peace process and how they intentionally sandbagged it in order so that it failed. That's France, that's Germany, and behind the scenes, you can only just imagine who was working behind the scenes, okay? But to not even bring that up, it is their responsibility. They created the conditions for the war in Donbass, for the ethnic cleansing or the ethnic targeting attacks by a US and NATO-backed Ukrainian military, the arms buildup and all of this. They created the conditions for Russia had no choice but to move. And they warned the West they were going to have to make some kind of serious moves if this isn't resolved diplomatically. So they totally sabotaged the diplomacy, the West did. And then now they're saying, oh, and it was Russia's act of aggression. It was Putin's war of choice. That's another scripted term, Putin's war of choice. These are all marketing terms. And so the ICCC, the thing I noticed when I went to the International Criminal Court for the first time, okay, when I was given a tour, is that you go in the reception, Mike, and you look on the wall, and there's 5 or 6 people that they managed to convict since they've been founded in what, 1998, 99 or something. And I noticed they're all black Africans pretty much to a man. There's no white people convicted in the International Criminal Court. There's no first world countries. There's no NATO members. There's no G7 countries, nothing. The whole thing was constructed to go after and condemn and sanction countries that, for whatever reason, weren't playing ball with their former colonial masters. It's that simple. The Milosevic trial happened kind of off-site, okay, but that was a total sham, and history now shows what a sham that was. Yeah. And that was to break up Yugoslavia. So there's so many things wrong with this. It's completely one-sided. And the rules-based international order, what is that? Where's the office for the rules-based international order? Do they have an office? Is that a global government? What is this? They keep announcing this. It's nothing. It's a concept. It's whatever you want it to be. It's like we make the rules today and we'll change them tomorrow. And if you don't play by the rules, then you're in violation of the rules-based international order. Is this, Mike, is this a court of aggression? Is there a statute of limitations on it? Good question, right? What about Libya? How about Libya? How about all the arms and the weapons that were channeled into Syria to destabilize and destroy that country? Is that covered? What about Iraq? Let's talk about Iraq. Is that covered in the statute of limitations of this new tribunal? I think it's a great idea, but let's just queue up all the people who need to be there first. And let's go back to Vietnam. How far do we want to go back? I mean, you can even throw Hitler in there just to keep everybody happy, okay? But it's ridiculous. And what is this? They tried to do the same thing against Syria. They tried to create this kind of legal framework to take down Bashar al-Assad. But all this is, Mike, at the end of the day, it's a toothless tiger. What it is, this just creates some kind of justification for ongoing sanctions.
PR stunt. It's
PR, but it's an ongoing effort that gives some kind of a legal justification or some sort of padding for sanctions, non-stop sanctions. Look how long Syria's been under sanctions. Look how long Iran has been under sanctions. Iraq might even have some sanctions on it still, I don't know. Yemen, they've destroyed these countries. These very countries that are calling for this tribunal have wrecked and ruined and killed and murdered, maimed, and leveled whole countries and populations. It is just rich that they're virtue signaling about this now, but still not even addressing the Ukrainian conflict, the context that led to the coup, the Maidan coup, and what happened after that, and what led to February 26th, 2022. They don't want to talk about that. That's not up for discussion. Yeah. This is such gaslighting, it's unbelievable.
It is indeed.